The Acadian Empire. The Acadian Empire was the first of its kind in Mesopotamia, flourishing from 2334 to 2154 BCE. It was founded by Sargon of Akkad, who is considered one of the first great emperors in history. They developed the world's first standing army, allowing them to maintain control over their empire. The empire's reach stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to the Zagros Mountains, encompassing modern-day Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, and parts of Turkey and Iran. One of the best ways to get to know the empire is through reading the Love Song to a Plow. It doesn't express love for a person, but rather for a plow, highlighting the Acadians' deep love for plows as they helped them grow crops. Environmental changes, including arid conditions and droughts, disrupted agriculture and destabilized the economy. Internal war rebellions and succession crises weakened control. The fall of the Acadian Empire marked the end of the first known empire in Mesopotamia. The Egyptian Empire. The Egyptian Empire reached the height of its power during the New Kingdom period, 1550 to 1070 BCE. This was Egypt's most prosperous era. Some of the most famous and influential pharaohs ruled during this time, including Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Ramses II. They built amazing temples and the famous Valley of the Kings, where they buried their pharaohs like Tutankhamun in secret tombs full of treasures. The pyramids, which were built before the New Kingdom, are like giant puzzles made of huge stone blocks. The most famous ones are in Giza, including the Great Pyramid, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Egyptians also worshipped animals, believing them to be embodiments of gods. Cats associated with the god Bastet were cherished companions, even mummified upon their passing. Similarly, falcons symbolized the powerful god Horus, and scarabs represented rebirth. External invasions, notably by the Sea Peoples and Assyrians, weakened Egypt's defenses, marking the end of the New Kingdom period around 1070 BCE. Despite later resurgences, the collapse reflected a combination of internal weaknesses, external pressures, and shifts in regional power dynamics, altering Egypt's historical trajectory. The Hittite Empire. The Hittite Empire was a Bronze Age powerhouse that thrived from 1600 to 1178 BC, and these Anatolian warriors were all about chariots, ironworking, and forging treaties carved into clay. The Hittite Empire was primarily located in what is now modern-day Turkey, with its heartland in the central Anatolian region. The core territory of the Hittite Empire covered the central and southern parts of Anatolia. Imagine a society where the king wasn't just a ruler, but the earthly representative of a powerful storm god. Upon his death, he didn't just go to an afterlife, he became a god himself. Hittite society wasn't as rigid as other empires. While there were nobles, commoners, and even slaves, there was a surprising amount of social mobility, meaning a skilled artisan could rise in ranks, and women even held positions of power, some even acting as queens and priestesses. They mastered the art of smelting and forging this sturdy metal, giving them a significant edge in warfare. The fall of the Hittite Empire, one of the major powers of the Late Bronze Age, occurred around the 12th century BCE amidst a period of widespread violence in the eastern Mediterranean, including succession disputes and rebellions from vassal states, further destroyed central authority. Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians were the powerhouse empire of the ancient world. Ruling from 911 to 609 BCE, they built an empire through sheer military might, becoming the first true world power in history. It was centered in the region of Mesopotamia, primarily in what is now modern-day Iraq. The core territories of the Assyrian Empire included the heartland of Assyria, which encompassed regions along the Tigris River, particularly around the cities of Ashur, Nineveh, and Nimrod. Unlike other empires, the Assyrians weren't interested in cultural assimilation, making other nearby kingdoms like them. They were all about conquering, controlling, and extracting tribute. Their fearsome army, equipped with iron weapons and innovative siege tactics, crushed the opposition with ruthless efficiency. But brute force wasn't their only weapon. The Assyrians were also masters of organization. They developed sophisticated governments with a network of provinces, governors, and tax collectors, ensuring a steady flow of wealth to fund their war machine. Despite their power, the Assyrian Empire wasn't invincible. Their ruthless expansion created hatred among conquered peoples, and internal rebellions eventually weakened their grip. In 609 BCE, the empire crumbled, leaving behind a complex legacy. Persian Empire. The Achaemenid Empire, also known as the Persian Empire, was a massive and powerful empire that started around 550 BCE, when a smart leader named Cyrus the Great decided to unite different lands under one rule. This empire became huge, stretching from parts of Europe to Asia and Africa, making it one of the biggest empires people had ever seen. What made the Persian Empire special was how it was run. Cyrus the Great and the kings after him were smart rulers who treated conquered people kindly. They let them keep their customs and religions, which helped keep peace across the vast empire. The Persians were also amazing builders. They created beautiful cities like Persepolis, which was full of stunning palaces and huge statues. This place was so impressive that it was like the heart of the empire, showing off its power and wealth. Another cool thing about the Persian Empire was its road system, including the famous Royal Road, which made it easier to send messages and trade goods across the empire quickly. This was like the ancient version of a superhighway, helping to connect different parts of the empire and making it stronger. The Persian Empire eventually fell to Alexander the Great, a young and ambitious conqueror from Macedonia. The Macedonian Empire. The Macedonian Empire, which got going around 334 BCE, was the brainchild of a young and ambitious guy named Alexander the Great. He was only in his 20s when he decided to make a name for himself by conquering pretty much the known world at the time. Alexander's empire stretched from Greece to India, making it one of the largest empires anyone had ever seen up until then. He managed to do this through some seriously impressive military tactics and by being incredibly brave, or reckless depending on how you look at it, in battle. One of the coolest things about Alexander's empire was that he didn't just conquer places and move on. He spread Greek culture, language, and ideas everywhere he went, a process known as Hellenization. This meant that even long after his empire fell apart, his influence stuck around in the form of cities that looked and felt Greek, from their theaters and markets right down to the way people dressed and spoke. Alexander the Great was only 32 years old, and his sudden death shocked everyone. When his generals asked him who should succeed him, Alexander supposedly said, "To the strongest." This vague answer was like lighting a fuse on a barrel of dynamite. These wars were brutal and lasted for many years, tearing the empire apart. Instead of staying one big empire, it eventually got divided into several smaller kingdoms ruled by Alexander's generals. The most famous of these were the Ptolemaic Kingdom in Egypt, the Seleucid Empire covering much of the Near East, and the Antigonid Dynasty in Macedonia. Maurya Empire. The Maurya Empire, which became massive from around 321 to 185 BCE, created one of the largest empires ever in the Indian subcontinent. It all started with a clever and ambitious man named Chandragupta Maurya. With the help of his advisor Chanakya, who was super smart about politics and strategy, Chandragupta managed to overthrow the Nanda dynasty and set up his own rule. Chandragupta's empire was massive, stretching across most of today's India and parts of Iran and Central Asia. This was a big deal because no one before had managed to unite so much of India under one rule. One of the most impressive parts of Chandragupta's story is when he met Alexander the Great's general, Seleucus I Nicator. They ended up striking a deal where Chandragupta got some important territories in exchange for 500 war elephants. These elephants were game changers in battles back then. After Chandragupta, his son Bindusara and then his grandson Ashoka the Great took over. Ashoka is a superstar of ancient history because he had a huge change of heart after a bloody battle. He decided to follow Buddhism and spread messages of peace and kindness, which was pretty revolutionary at the time. One of the coolest things left from the Maurya Empire are the pillars and rock edicts of Ashoka. These are big stones carved with messages and laws from Ashoka, telling people to be good to each other and follow Buddhist principles. They're like ancient billboards of goodness. Following the death of the great Mauryan Emperor Ashoka, the empire faced a period of dynastic instability with weak successors unable to maintain centralized control. The Roman Empire. Born from the ashes of the Roman Republic, the empire emerged under the rule of Augustus Caesar in 27 BCE. The Roman Empire was one of the most impressive empires in history, starting around 27 BCE when Augustus Caesar took the throne, and lasting until 476 CE in the West. It covered a huge area including lands around the Mediterranean Sea, stretching into parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa. One of the most interesting aspects of the Roman Empire was its legal system, which laid the groundwork for many legal principles still in use today. Roman law influenced the development of legal systems in many Western countries, emphasizing the rights of citizens and the importance of a fair trial. As the empire expanded, it absorbed diverse cultures and traditions. Greek philosophy, Egyptian gods, and local customs all found their place within the Roman world. The Colosseum became a symbol of the empire, hosting gladiatorial combats, chariot races, and other spectacles that served as both entertainment and a means of social control. Despite its initial strength, the Western Roman Empire fell to pressures in the 5th century CE, i.e., barbarian invasions ultimately led to its downfall in 476 CE. Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire, founded by Genghis Khan in 1206, became the largest continuous land empire in history. Starting from the Mongolian steppes, Genghis Khan and his descendants expanded the empire across Asia, reaching into Europe, the Middle East, and even the edges of Southeast Asia. What made the Mongols incredibly effective was their amazing military strength and mobility. Mongol warriors were skilled horsemen and archers, able to move quickly across vast distances, striking swiftly and with surprise. Their tactics were revolutionary, combining speed, intelligence gathering, and psychological warfare to defeat enemies often much larger in number. Some estimates put that the Mongols killed over 45 million people from the start to the end of the empire, which was about 10% of the world's population. Cities were destroyed and civilian populations were often massacred when resistance was met. The bubonic plague, known as the Black Death, destroyed the Mongol Empire in the mid-14th century, causing widespread death and social disruption. This further weakened the empire and hastened its decline. By the late 14th century, the Mongol Empire had fragmented into smaller khanates, each ruling over a portion of the former empire's territory. These successor states continued to exist for some time, but the era of Mongol dominance had come to an end. An interesting fact is that it is also estimated since Genghis Khan had so many children, 1 in every 12 men in Asia can claim direct ancestry from the man himself. The Ottoman Empire. It emerged in the early 14th century in Anatolia and spread to control much of southeastern Europe, Western Asia, and northern Africa. The empire was founded by Osman I, leader of a Turkic tribal group who established the Ottoman dynasty that ruled for over 600 years. At its peak under Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire spanned over 5 million square kilometers. Under Suleiman the Magnificent, the empire reached its highest, expanding its territories and influencing the politics, culture, and economies of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The legal code he introduced, known as the Kanun, helped to systematize and control the empire efficiently. However, by the 17th century, the empire began to decline due to military setbacks, administrative inefficiencies, and the rise of European powers. The 19th and early 20th centuries saw the empire struggling to modernize and keep up with technological and military advancements in Europe. The end of the Ottoman Empire came after World War I, when it was on the losing side. The empire was dismantled, and the Republic of Turkey was established in 1923 under Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, marking a new era in Turkish history.